devil in the
Hello, and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. I want to start with an apology. I went on my family holiday last week and missed the biggest news week of the season, but luckily we had Paul Parkin on hand to pick up all the big news stories. Parker, what an exciting week last week was.
Yeah, big week. Plenty on and off the field, I suppose, after the following the Huddersfield game, which was dramatic, let's say that. And then from then on, the week seemed to just keep picking up. Plenty of news and events coming out. And yeah, and obviously the big meeting Tuesday night, which was, I know we can talk about, and it was good. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. It was really good. But a really full week last week. Seems to catch us all a little bit by surprise. I mean, the last time you two could ever go on holiday. Obviously not together. I'm not suggesting. Just both vanished at the same time. It was just unfortunate it happened last week.
Yeah, Paul Whiteside was sick of keeping Britain warm, so he decided to try and make Spain warm for a week. Paul, how did that go?
Well, it was rain. The lady said to the hotel, she says, it only rains here about one day a year. So it wasn't too bad. We arrived Saturday night and it was late on, so we just had a bite to eat and went to bed. Sunday was a bit cloudy, so we went for a walk. Monday, it chucked it down for about 14 hours. All the car park was flooded. We were just playing pontoon in the hotel, and my dad, luckily, had bought my mum had got him a word search book, a rugby league word search book, so we were doing that in all the teams with all the names of the players. We were just sat in the lobby doing that all day, and it was good. Kids were playing cards for money and that, so our Ellie knows how to play Uno and pontoon and God knows what now. She's marrying us to do that. So playing for 2p's and what have you. But no, the holiday was good though. After that, it was lovely then for the rest of the week because the hotel was really quiet until Friday when all Spanish turned up. So it was manic then. But for sort of 3 days, we had a really good time. And that's enjoyed it, Rob. I enjoyed it. It was nice to go away, but just a bit gutted to miss the Huddersfield game. But we was driving to our hotel on the coach, and Helen said to me, "Don't use your phone, because it'll cost loads of money. Don't go on that data roaming." So I had my phone on airplane mode, but Aloise just sat next to me on the bus. I said, "Oh, have you got your phone on?" She went, "Yeah." I said, "Well, can I have a look on Twitter?" She went, "Yeah, all right then." So she had Twitter on for me. She was updating for me every 5 minutes, and I could see what was going on. And then we were all in the back seat of this coach. It was me, my dad, my sister. We were all like crowded around the phone. Anyway, it was in the queue at the hotel, and my dad was laughing away, saying, "Oh, great, they thought he had points up now." And we were just checking in. I said, "He's 42-40 now. He had kittens in the queue." Like, what's going on? So he was looking at the phone then, and then obviously the whistle went. But it's weird because you're not there. It's out of your control. You can't see what's going on. Just like, so anyway, it was all's well that ends well.
Yeah, I went to Skegness for a week, Paul. It was glorious, wall-to-wall sunshine. Still doing me diet. Fry-ups in the morning, roast dinners in the evening without the carbs. So only managed to put on 4 pounds in a week, eating like a king throughout Parky. So yeah, I had quite an enjoyable week.
Yeah, well, sounds like Skegness rather than Spain, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the weather these days. See, it is nice to have a break, but I hate that feeling of missing games. Hate it. I can't concentrate. I can't enjoy my holiday.
Yeah.
The last time I think it did it, I think we were in the Caribbean, and I should have been thinking about a million other things. And we were playing somebody in a playoff, middle eight game. I think it might be in London or something at home. I think it was a dreadful game or something. I think we might have got beat. I can't remember. But just ruined my whole day. Even though I was sat there in 30-odd degrees heat on a beach in the Caribbean. One thing that was taking my mind was Salford. It's horrible. I hate going away during the season. I hate missing games. But yeah, you got to have a holiday though. You got to get a break. Get some vitamin D.
Mm-hmm. Like Chris Bates, ladies head coach, says, we're all volunteers, right? So that's what happens. Obviously, your family holidays and that come first. Couple of Reds I met as well in Skegness, Sheila and Dave. I think it was one of them where they looked at me like a double take and thought, I know you. So that was a strange moment. But yeah, it was a good week. Enjoyed Butlins. Lots of entertainment on. Good stuff with the family and recharged, ready to talk all things Salford Red Devils now. So we'll start with a victory against Hull this weekend.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So what a win for Salford Red Devils. Another nervy effort Parker, but we got over the line.
Yeah, it was. I think it was nervy because we made it nervy. I think we were our own worst enemies at times. We could have controlled the game a lot better. It's not the way we play. We know that. We know what we do and what we're about. But there were just a few occasions where we were sloppy or a little bit, we definitely overplayed when we didn't need to. But overall, I felt confident throughout the game. I thought we just had more than them. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. You look at the two teams on paper, they're the ones with probably the bigger name players, if you like, maybe, or, the full salary cap spend and all that kind of stuff. But no, I thought we did a job in the end. It was professional. We stuck at it. And I think these games are the ones that will put us in good stead if we do make that top six, which, hopefully we will at the end of the year, because there are no easy games in a playoff, and you need to know how to win, just how to get over the line. The Huddersfield game the week before, I know it was, from a defensive point of view, it was an absolute nightmare, but we still had enough to win the game, and that's what we need. And it's getting that inside, getting that mentality and that know-how to win a game. And against, Hull FC, who many would have said at the start of the year would probably be a top 6 team. It's another notch on, for us. I think we were pretty good throughout, and it was a good game. It was entertaining. I'll say that. I mean, not every game I've seen this year has been like that, but both teams scored some decent tries, a lot of ball movement. Hull are a much different team to the one we played early in the season up at the KCOM. That day at their place, they were a shell of a team. They didn't look like they were interested. Obviously, they just went on a little bit of a run recently, 3-4 wins on a bounce. They turned up at our place, buzzing with a decent following behind them as well. Full credit to the old fans for coming down the other day. It's the best support we've had this year at our place. But yeah, no, I thought we just did a professional job and just about deserved to win the game.
Yeah, it's all about muscle memory for me, Paul. You go into these games and winning them, and you remember winning them next time it comes round to another game like that. And I thought we used all the experience that we've gained over the last couple of seasons in this game to get the result. Yeah, it wasn't vintage Rowley ball, but like Parky said, a win is a win, and it keeps us going forward to that playoff spot.
Yeah, I think this group of players now expect to win these sort of games. I mean, if you go back sort of a decade or so ago, we was always sort of chasing the coattails of like Huddersfield and Hull and OKR. But I think now we seem to be moving ahead of these teams now, and that's the impression I got of the week. And I thought we always had them at arm's length, really. And I think we were, like you said, you nailed it. You stole me thunder, really. I was going to say that about us. When we got 8 points in front of 18-10, I think we overplayed it a couple of times and allowed them back into the game, really, where they were never really in it in that second half. We always had them at arm's length. And that's one thing that we probably don't want to get rid of from our game, because that's the way we play. So, you don't want to say to players, well, don't play that way, because that's the Paul Rowley way. That's the philosophy of this team. So that's what's getting you success. So you want to keep doing it. But I was particularly pleased with Mark Sneed. I thought Mark Sneed was great, particularly that last 20 minutes of the game where he absolutely managed it. I know he got simping with 6 seconds to go, which seems a bit strange for the referee, but no, I thought he really, really managed it well there for us. And big shout outs to Ben Elliwell as well. I thought he was fantastic. He really gave us a bit of zip when he came on, and Adam Sidlow coming back as well. So I think everybody that was on the pitch did a job for us, and it was a boost having Ken Seo and Tim Laffey coming back. But full credit to the players that are in the squad. Players that perhaps fringe players like Helliwell and Sidlow doing the job, and it's tough now to get back into the team.
Yeah, obviously let's quick look at the scenario of the game. Hull opened the scoring, try from Jake Clifford. 80-metre effort, went from right to left. There was talk about a forward pass in the build-up, Parker. A lot of talk on Twitter these days about the momentum rule. What did you make of it? Did you think it was forward?
No. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't in them situations. For me, I know it's against us, and possibly it was, but at the same point, I don't want to see decent rugby stopped for a couple of inches of the ball moving forward. If his hands are going one way, if his body's going the other, whatever. It was a great try from Hull, to be fair. And I'm not going to begrudge him that. I'm not going to take it off him. I still wasn't convinced about the grounding. That was the main thing for me, right, when he went over in the corner. But it was a decent try. They caught us out. We don't often get caught out like that. So, full credit to them. They've obviously done a little bit of homework. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It wasn't blatant. and it wasn't a forward pass on purpose or anything like that. The speed that Swift's moving at to the player inside, I've got no real problem with it. It may have gone a touch forward, but I dare say we'll get away with 1 or 2 this year at some point. So we just got to live with that and, give the opposition a bit of credit for that one.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect example of momentum pass because Swift kind of kept running as he passed it. So there has been a lot of talk on Twitter about forward passes and this momentum rule, and I thought that was probably a perfect example of it. Like you said, good try, opened us up, woke us up. Salford hit back, try from Tyler Dupree. Paul, good feet, bursts the line, crashes over by the posts, and gives the old what's this all about? Hand show to the south stand.
Yeah, for a big man, he's got that. He's got a real good pair of feet on him. He's a bit like an heavyweight sort of twinkle toe boxer, the way he sort of steps round. And I thought he did really well there. And I was reading a lot of the stuff while I was on holiday about, his transfer request and things like that. But what you got with situations like that is you don't know the full story from either side. So when Paul Rowley picked him, he's put faith in him. Paul will see what he does on the training ground, and I had no gripes against him at all. Let him do the business. So what happens in the future happens. But I thought he played really well in that game, and credit to him, good try that, and it's what we needed there. Going 6-0 down, just going back to the forward pass thing. I thought was a good try that from Hull. I think with Twitter and this trial by Twitter, you could have every try disallowed. People moan about everything now, don't they? But I thought it was a good try. You can't go through every game with a fine tooth comb, and you'd be there all week, wouldn't you? Take you a week to referee a game, but no, good try from Dupree, and just what we need at the time after going behind.
Yeah, Hull took the lead again. Try from Jake Truman, dummy sliced through to make it 10 points to 6 Hull. But then Salford hit back. Parky try from Dion Cross, kicked by Brodie Croft, and Dion Cross was there to ground the ball, and Salford led 12-10.
Yeah, it was again clever from Brodie. How many times has he done that with them little kicks? He just sees that gap and thinks so quickly, and his short kicking game superb, and full credit for Dion for following up. But again, he noticed their line had come out and the space was in behind, and it's easier to kick that ball too hard or not hard enough to get it to the wrong position. He got it pinpoint, and dare say we'll discuss in a bit of our kicking, but. Yeah, a great try and a decent time. I think switched the momentum. If Hull had scored again at that point, we could have been in a bit of trouble chasing the game. And once we start chasing the game, the way we play, it can open us up. So it just shows the brains. I mean, Brodie's not been. We were discussing off air, weren't we, about him? He's not been the Brodie Croft of last year, but the game's changed. People will watch him a lot closer and perhaps, we're not playing that same open flowing rugby we were last year. It makes it a little bit more difficult for him. But he still does things, special little things, even at Saints the other week. And, he's still got that. There's something in his game that's going to open you up. And it only takes one bit of magic each week from him to win you a game, And again, that's it. He's just, some of his passes on Sunday were brilliant as well. His long passing, his loop passing to Kenny Teo. So, a well-worked try.
Yeah, Salford found a bit of form then. We had a Briley disallowed try where I think it was double movement in the corner. Referee called it off. And then just before half-time, direct from a scrum, Mark Sneed realised there was no fullback at home, booted the ball up the field. Brian Briley got on his bike, chased the ball, grounded it, score for Salford, 18-10, Paul.
Yeah, it was a good tackle from Burgess that as well, leading up to that. It was Hoy who broke through down the right edge for Hull. Burgess with a cracking cover tackle on him. And yeah, I don't think Hoy was in position for that scrum. I'm sure he was at the scrum. And I remember thinking they're gonna kick it, and you could see it. And my dad looked at me and he went, "Oh, it's a Kenny Gill special, that for Richards or Field." And the pair of them were there as well. Briley and Burgess were both there. They both won that race there. And fair credit to Briley, he showed an awful lot of pace, but great vision that from Sneed to spot that. And special. They're the tries that you pay your money to go and see, aren't they? I mean, we go back to the days that we first started watching Saw. We go back to the 80s and that, and some of the moves that we used to put on back then, and stuff from set scrums. I think you can't beat a try from a set scrum and a move like that. That's quality, because you've got to have the ambition and the sort of bravery to do it. It's the first tackle, you cut that up and you give the ball away, haven't you? So yeah, it was a good try that, and it sort of sent us in at half time, I think, with our tails up.
Yeah, and it's a kind of thing, Parky, that playoff teams do for me. They'll score and then they'll score again. and which puts us in the commanding lead going in at half-time.
Yeah, I think I obviously haven't got any evidence of this, but I think the coaching staff might need a bit of credit for that, because I'd noticed in previous games when I'd seen Hull that Tex Hoy, the fullback, he stays in the line at the scrum. They don't drop the fullback back. I don't know why they do that, Hull. I don't know what they're thinking. Whether they just think an extra defensive man in the line's a decent thing. If you put a move on from the scrum, i.e. with ball in hand, because everyone does these days. But we've obviously seen that. And if the coaching staff haven't picked out during the week in a video session, and Mark Sneed's just spotted it himself, then that's genius. You know, that is absolutely brilliant. And the thing was, I know it can go wrong, but with that kick, he pinned it that far down the pitch. Even if their player had got to it, we had them trapped on their try line. And again, all right, it might be first tackle, but they're in their half, they're not in ours. So brilliant bit of play. I mean, it was one of them things that just puts a smile on your face when you see it. That's brilliant. That's something different. I mean, people say there's too many tries from kicks. I think ones like that'll do. That was an excellent piece of play from everyone. From the guys being switched on enough to chase the ball. Obviously, Mark Sneed and his kicking game. You know what you're going to get. If you need it putting somewhere, they'll put it there.
Yeah. So we were in half time, 18-10 up. Hull came out second half, scored first. I think it was McInish in the corner, long ball, cut out Salford's defence, went over in the corner. 18-16, Paul.
Daniel McIntosh scored
That's
it, I think, didn't he? It was a good kick-off from Hoy. I mean, how many of them kicks did he do? I mean, my dad kept remarking on that. He'd put them up and he'd sort of leave them up so they were hanging, they were swirling around in the wind, and it caught Joe Burgess out that. I think he knocked it on. And from that, they moved attack. It was a lovely ball that wide to McIntosh and a good finish. He's a decent winger in. But yeah, that was a poor start for us, that. But then obviously we bounced back with a lovely link-up play from Sneed and Stone, which got us back in front again. So yeah, give us an 8-point lead once again.
Yeah, lovely work by Stone and Croft. And like you said, Mark Sneed, Parker, not just kicking goals, knowing where the line is too. Puts us back in front at 24-16.
Yeah, well, back-to-back.
Yeah.
Try against Hull for Sneedy. Now he scored at their gaff and he scored at ours. So that'll please him against his former club. Yeah, I mean, Stone there was brilliant. His ball handling was. I mean, he's getting better and better for me. I thought he had a slow start to the season, but he certainly picked up. And him and Shane Wright, who obviously sadly we've lost for the year now, but them two are forming some partnership in the back row there when they were on together. Really smart players, know where to be. And he's got a turn of pace as well, I noticed. But yeah, that was a great work try. Super. I mean, no team in the world stopping that. I've watched the Origin this morning. You know, the Maroons would have struggled with that one. That was brilliant play. And again, it's that seeming to know each other and know what the other player's going to do. Obviously, they probably worked on it. We don't know. It might be off the cuff, but you know, Stone gets the ball straight away. He knows that Sneed's going to be there, or somebody is. Usually Brayley in that position. And Sneedy knew that he was going to get the ball out. So just great play all round. And again, very important we scored at that point, because at half time we come out at half time and my brother turns to me and I knew what he was going to say. And we say it every week, we've got to score first. And we never do in the second half. We make a mistake. You know, it was from the kickoff that their try straight away. And we just went, how many times? I mean, them kickoffs were evil, absolutely evil. I wouldn't fancy getting under one of them. But no, it was, again, another brilliant, smart bit of play. And that then turned the game for us.
Yeah. Hull wasn't giving up, though. Try from Josh Griffin. Little kick through. No, sorry. Left to right move, just found a gap, crashed over to make it 22-24. And then, obviously, magic moment from Brodie Croft. Found Kensio in the corner, and we led 28-22, Paul.
Yeah, but like you said before that, Josh Griffin, that was twice. I mean, the first half we had an 8-point lead, and we overplayed it and let them back in. And then again, second half, overplayed it, 8-point lead, 24-16. We coughed it up. And that was a soft try to concede for Josh Griffin. So, yeah, we got away with it on Sunday. But against better sides, against the likes of St. Helens and that, you won't get away with it. And we didn't at their place, did we? You let them in and give them half an inch. And they're back in, aren't they? So that's something we need to tidy up, really. But, yeah, like you said, the pass from Croft to CO, it was a great pass. But he had to finish it, and that was a great finish, because you look at the pass and think, oh, he's put him in there. But he hasn't. He's got all the work to do there to get over. And you give CO half a yard and he'll finish. As soon as he got that ball, you knew where he was going to end up. For me, there's not many better finishers in Super League than him. Great try, that. And that just sort of gave us an 8-point lead again, didn't it? And an 8-point lead that luckily this time we hung on to.
Yeah. Hull kicked off, penalty, us not going 10 yards. Mark Sneed tried to kick a penalty but missed. But then a couple of minutes later dropped a goal. Parky, like we said, Mark Sneed just manages the game out when it matters.
Yeah, well, when he missed that kick, it was more about, just make sure it goes dead. That was one thing. But you're burning down a couple of seconds on the clock, another minute's gone. And then, we get another shot. You try it again. You're right. I mean, and then the last one when we put it in touch, and kicked on. We knew then that the game was to just burn the clock down, get the ball out of play, take your 6 tackles, whatever it is, get yourself in position if you can. If not, just, get the ball back out of play. And it's really smart play. Hull had to go for it. And their kickoffs, like I mentioned before, were brilliant. It could have easily come off them, but the wind as well, it was a little bit windy out on the pitch. You didn't really feel it in the stand, but it was like, didn't feel anything in the West End. It was freezing for some reason. Rest of the ground was blazing. But yeah, it was it's just a bit of smart play again. Like you say, Mark's needing that last 15 minutes, just showing why we've got him, what a clever player he is, all that experience, just knowing how to slow the game down to our needs, really. And it was just a case of just hit that ball out of play, just get it out.
Yeah. So Hull at the death, Paul came hunting, missed a penalty, which would have made it a bit nerve jangling, and Salford saw the game out.
Yeah, well, you can see what they were trying to do there. A few people around me said, what's he doing? Why is he kicking for a goal? But there were 7 points behind. So you could see his thinking behind it was to kick the goal and then get the ball back for one last hurrah to try and win the game. So I did get that. I think it's probably the best option, really. But, in that sort of situation, he was rushing and then ends up missing the kick. So I think they just ran out of time there. But yeah, the best side won on the day. I thought Salford were the better team. And it was a test, because when you look at that whole team, they're a totally different side from the side we played at the KCOM. I think it all stemmed for the halfbacks. They had no organisation whatsoever. Now they've got Clifford and Jake Truman at halfback, who are 2 quality players. And Hoy's linking up as well. They're a dangerous team, and they'd won 4 on the bounce before Sunday. So, they're an improving side. And for us to beat them, not say comfortably, because it was only 7 points, wasn't it? But I think we were better than they were. I thought we were a lot better than they were, and it was a pleasing result, because they're probably going to be a side that's going to be in around that top 6, aren't they? So if you can keep them sides at bay, then you're going to go well. Yeah,
we spoke to Sam Stone, Adam Sidlow, Paul Rowley, and Chris Atkin after the game, and that is what they had to say. So I'm joined by Chris Atkin. Good win today, that?
Yeah, very good. Obviously, really good conditions for rugby, and there's a few things we want to fix up, but all good day overall. Yeah,
obviously, a great one. What was it like on the field? Obviously, exciting tries.
Yeah, definitely. I think a good one for the fans again today. Plenty of tries, and like I just said, a few things we can fix up. I think a couple of soft tries that we'll be disappointed with when we look back on. But again, we're moving forward and we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, come from behind twice shows the character of this team.
Yeah, definitely. We spoke about that over the last few weeks. Obviously, we were disappointed with the result at St Helens, and that's something we've tried to really focus on, staying close as a group and fighting through them tough times, because you can go behind. Things aren't always going to go your way.
How far can this team go, Chris?
Who knows? We'll see. We're just ticking week after week and building towards the back end of that season, and looking forward to the next round of the Challenge Cup as well.
Yeah, Magic weekend next week. Look forward to that.
Yeah, big one. Always a big occasion, and hopefully it'll be a really good turnout with the fans. And I think all the lads across the teams are really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Cheers, Chris, and good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Super. Thanks.
Right, delighted to say Adam Sidlow joins me. I don't think I spoke to you for a while since the last time you was at Salford, so it's been a long time, but back in the side today. How are you feeling now? Was you out for a while with injury? What were you out with?
I was out with my calf. did it bad for me. It's neurosis, so it's not the actual body of the muscle, so it's like the tendon, so it took a bit longer. I got on top of it. I've got some new orthotics. Sarah, the physio here, has really helped me, and I feel really good at the minute.
Tough game out there today, wasn't it? A big win for Salford though, wasn't it? You're keeping up there in the table. That's another big 2 points.
Yeah, we keep doing it hard here at home. I don't know what it is at home. We can't just blow anyone away, but we played them away, and I think they thought the orders won, so they come all guns blazing, and I think we took it to them, and it was a bit of a war of attrition, like Rose likes to say. So yeah, it's good to get a tough win, but on to the next one, okay.
Exciting time to be a Salford player. You've got the Magic weekend next week, which is always a good event, and you've got the Hulk Air and the Cup quarter-finals as well. It's been a long time since Salford won some silverware, but you certainly are in the mix this season. It seems wide open, the Super League.
Yeah, I think we've been doing it tough as well. We seem to be like one person every week getting injured, and I think again Andy Atkin has got knocked out this week, so I don't think he'll be playing next week, which is tough for us. But we've got Amir Birra, who's raring to go, so yeah, looking forward to it, and it's a good time to be a Salford player, like I say.
It certainly is. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Adam, and all the best next week in Newcastle.
So I'm joined by Sam Stone. Good win today.
Yeah, it was a bit scrappy in the second half there, but we got there in the end, and we're winning a bit scrappy at the moment, but gets our 2 points.
Yeah, obviously, real sort of nip and tuck, both sides going at it. Came from behind twice. Shows the character this team's got.
Yeah, we've definitely got some character. It was a pretty attacking game, free flowing, and that's the style of footy we play. We just got to be a bit more resilient when we make some errors.
Yeah, Magic weekend next week. Excited about that?
Yeah, of course. It's a great weekend to play. We're first game up too, so we'll try and really set the bar high there first game.
Yeah. Obviously, win today. How far can this team go?
Oh, mate, let's just focus on getting ourselves in the 6 at the end of the year, and then see if we can knock a few big dogs off from there.
Brilliant. Cheers, Sam.
Thanks.
Well done today.
Thank you.
Coach's Corner.
Paul Rowley joins me, delighted to say. Another solid win, Paul. Against an ever-improving Hull FC side. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a solid win. Yeah, it's probably a good reference, and I think it was a good win. I thought it was a good game, to be honest. I thought both sides scored some really well worked, highly skilled tries, and it was a good game, if I'm being honest. So it probably could have snatched it as well. It was what sport's all about, unpredictability. You don't know the outcome to the death. I thought we had a guy in Sneedy there who had some game sense and probably just was the difference in the end between the two. Just a bit of a cool head, wasn't he? His goal kicking, very reliable. So it was a good game against a very good side, very strong side. Like you said, resurgent Hull side. So we enjoyed it.
You've won 5 from 6 now. Form's looking good. You look at the table and results this week, and the Super League, I mean, it seems wide open. It must be a really exciting time to be a coach, and when you're winning matches like tight games like that, it just keeps you up there amongst the top sides.
Yeah, and like I said, we've done the double on Hull now, so a big club, very well spent. But look at the team on paper there, so to do that is a significant achievement, and if you look at our boys, we're not exactly doing backflips across the pitch like we've just won the Challenge Cup, so we're pretty cool about it. We understand where we're at, and we have a lot of belief in the camp, so I felt that was actually a huge win in the context of everything. But like I said before, the lads have kept a real cool head. I thought there was really good cool head in the game, but cool head overall as well. We don't. I've said to you before, we don't get too high, don't get too low, and we have high expectations within our group. So it was nice to be able to put out what I felt was a really strong 17 on paper. When we come through unscathed, obviously, apart from Andy Ackers, who's got a knock to the head there.
Did he fail that?
Yeah, he failed straight away because there's certain cues to medical staff. You don't even need to do an head test when there's certain cues there. So he's gone straight away. So that's 2 in succession. So he's probably he's a specialist return now. So that'll be a longer period of time. So probably 3-4 weeks, something like that.
You talk about some of the big guns coming back. 2 players that probably not played a lot of this season. I was really impressed with them today. Adam Sidlow, and I thought Ben Elliwell when he came off the bench. I thought he was excellent. He was really sharp as well. So those 2 lads have stood up and shone for you.
Yeah, really pleased. I'll start with Ben. I thought, Ben is what he is, right? And I'll never forget his contribution at Toulouse away in unbelievable heat. And he played massive minutes in the middle at a new club coming out of Championship. So he's got a heart, as Ben, and probably typifies our club, typifies our team, and typifies our fans. There's a lot of heart, and Ben is that guy. So I was really pleased for him that he got some good touches and made a significant difference. I thought today Ben Elliwell did. So delighted for him. And then Adam Sidlow, well, we know about his ability. We know that again he's another player with game sense. In a game in Super League at the minute where there's probably a lack of middles, certainly English middles, the experienced ones are really leading the way. I've seen it at other clubs, and like I said, the more Adam Sidlow's on the pitch for us, hopefully he has a good run now. You can see he makes a significant difference. And if you look back to the Wakefield game, we scraped through that game, but I thought he played a massive role in that as well. So game sense and rugby players, they're a bit of a rare commodity now, because we breed these manufactured players, not the ones that grow up playing on the street. And Ziggy's clearly one of them that grew up playing on the street, and he knows where it's going to bounce, he knows how to slow it down, speed it up, avoid challenges, all that sort of stuff. The stuff that really you don't coach, it's in him, because that's what he grew up doing.
I think with Ben as well, his useful player to have. He was just telling me he was an electrician as well. So if you had him doing any foreigners around your house and that.
No, not yet, but I might do actually. So, but Ben, it's just like Ben as well. He started off. I think he was a standoff or a centre, back in the day, he's early in his career, and I do like my players, especially my forwards, who's transition. Same with Cal. Cal's gone from centre to back row, because what it provides you with is middles that have got leg speed, game sense, skill, and how I like to play. I like to sign rugby players, not so much the robots. I like rugby players.
Exciting few weeks, Paul. You've got a magic weekend at Newcastle and a cup quarter final against Old Kingston Rovers as well. You must be loving it.
Yeah, exciting for you. I don't get too excited. My missus tells me off for that, so I just try and keep a level head all the time. So might call it miserable, I think, but that's what it is. That works for me. So I just keep a level head there. But it's a tough 3 weeks, I know that. So it just means we have to, come in tomorrow first and foremost. No day off. Let's just get straight back, assess, and prepare for the next one. That's sport, isn't it? And you smile and you're great for an hour or so and enjoy that moment, and then you move on to the next. And luckily, I've got a good group of players and staff that have their feet firmly on the ground and just have a good work ethic and just want to keep getting better and better. And they believe they can.
Keep up the great work, Paul. Thanks very much for taking time out to speak to us, mate.
Always. Cheers.
Thanks.
So, Paul, all happy with the result. What was your thoughts on what Paul Rowley had to say?
Yeah, he was all right. Yeah, we had to hang about for him for a long time. Because Imogen kept saying, we're going home, starving. But I don't know what time he came out at that press conference. But no, he's good enough to have a chat with us and that. And I think he was pleased with the result. And I think he's excited about what's to come. I think he sort of had a laugh at me saying, you're more excited than I am because I'm a supporter and I've got to keep my feet on the ground. But there's some big games coming up now. You've got the Magic weekend. I mean, I'm looking forward to this weekend because it's not a cup final, but it feels a bit like that because you go and play on a big stage in front of the whole of the rugby league community, if you like, a big football ground in front of a big crowd. You get to showcase your skills, and because we've got the Cas game and then a massive, massive cup quarter final. So it's really exciting time to be a supporter, a player, a coach, and be involved with the club. So I think he tries to keep it in check, does Paul Rowley, but I think secretly, you can always see that glint in his eye, can't you, that he's doing well. And I didn't dare ask him about the Tyler Dupree situation, but I believe somebody did in the press conference, and from what I heard, he gave a cracking answer, and the answer I thought he'd give, because when you think of Paul, he has an us and them mentality, I think, sometimes, and like a sort of a siege mentality, and it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit for us as supporters as well. I think he's got the same mentality as what we've got. So, yeah, I love chatting to Paul and Kurt. I know you spoke to Kurt as well. They're a good team, aren't they? So yeah, really, really pleased for him.
Yeah, I asked Kurt Haggerty about what the week previous to the game and how everyone's going on, and he was like, "Yeah, we've dealt with it and we've moved on." which is, what top coaches do, don't they, Parker? They keep the ship as steady as you can.
Yeah, there's no point getting carried away with ourselves. We've won nothing yet. We've not done anything yet. We're not confirmed the top 6 team. Could all go badly wrong. What then? You're just going to look stupid celebrating halfway through a season. Oh, look at that, we've just beat all. It's another game ticked off. Another marker for us, and that's all it is at this stage. I agree with Paul. I think this weekend's could be massive. I mean, if we could beat them, and Rovers are I know we'll talk about it in a bit, but they're a bit of a bogey team. I think it does send out a message. The strange thing is, people are talking about Lee, and rightly so. They're having a great season for a promoted team. People are talking about Hull KR being up there. People are still not, when they start going on about the top 6 at the end of the year, they're not mentioning us. And yet, how well do we have to do? We've had one blip at Saints recently, and that is it. We've been brilliant. We win virtually every week. It's just crazy that we don't get mentioned. And Paul Rowley, I think Paul's right with that. And I think he sees that and thinks, right, all right, you lot, that's the way you want it. We're happy to have our backs against the wall. We'll take that and just keep us out of the press then, if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I mean, we've got a good setup. They've all seemed to have a really good relationship. I was listening to Inu last week, obviously talking about working under Haggy and Rolls and what they're like. And yeah, I mean, he came across like, and this is a man with a wealth of experience already under God knows how many coaches, played in 4 or 5 grand finals here and in Australia. The way he was talking about the coaching staff was fantastic. So it's interesting to listen to Rolls. I think he's one of them guys you could probably listen to all day. As I've said before, his love of rugby league, just the game itself, the way he talks about it, you see him get a bit dewy-eyed at times when he talks about it, and he wants it to be, Paul mentioned before about, watching moves and we used to have in the 80s, and Paul Rowley loves that. He loved that era. He loved that style of rugby, that open British play it was. It wasn't like the Aussie game, when you had the Andy Gregory's of this world, Sean Edwards, people that were in about, just proper skillful players. And I think we're so lucky to have him. And he'll keep the players firmly rooted to the ground and won't let any of them get carried away with themselves.
Yeah.
And the way he's handled the Dupree situation has just been absolutely first class. It's as if nothing's happened.
He says I think he said it to you, Paul, maybe in this interview, that he said he wants rugby players, not robots, and that's what this team is. They're all rugby players who can think and not just sticking to a process, and that is why we are where we are, and that is why how the ball works, because they see what they see and they play what they see, which is credit to them, credit to Paul Rowley and the coaching team to coach that and drill it into the players to be flamboyant enough in a structured way to open teams up, and long may it continue. Talking about the stats now, Paul, top tacklers Andy Ackers 22, Sam Stone 24, Tyler Dupree 21, Callum Watkins 26.
Yeah, I think Andy Ackers has got a few more, wouldn't he, if he hadn't gone off injured? That was a massive blow for us, that, with Andy going off, and he's going to probably miss maybe 3 or 4 games, hasn't he, due to the protocol and what have you. So he's been really unlucky there. But yeah, it was a good effort. But I am worried about Andy Ackers because it's a concern when fellas keep getting injured and bangs to the head. But we've got, Amir Burroughs there waiting in the wings. We've got Chris Atkin and that to come through as well. But no, that's a blow for Andy Ackers, that. And a guy who's been playing really, really well as well. So I hope he makes a speedy recovery.
Yeah, talk about the meter makers now. Parker, Kin, CO 142, Tim Laffey 106, King Bunny Ayawa 86, Sam Stone 76, and Ben Helliwell 70.
Yeah, some good meters there. It's good to have Kenny and Lord Laffey back, isn't it? I mean, just a pair of them cause havoc when they bring the ball in. Some of them runs that Kenny C always putting in, bringing that ball back was tremendous. And once they're fully fit, because obviously they've both missed a bit of a chunk there, really. I was saying it for weeks that we need players like that, especially Laffey causes so much chaos in the defensive line. He draws people in, and if he gets an offload, he's creating space. If he doesn't, and he gets a quick play the ball, again, it does that. He draws defenders because they're all terrified of him and what he can do. His offloads and everything else. Just such a massive boost having him back, and they both made big meters. And Paul mentioned before, Helliwell, I thought he was tremendous. I thought he was absolutely... I thought he was good last year in his little spell with us. We haven't seen much of him this year. Came on the other day and the loss of Shane Wright's massive. But if he's going to put in performances like that, it should be seamless. He was first class on Sunday. Like, prove there. I mean, come off the bench and made that many metres. That's some effort.
Yeah. Thought Halliwell was brilliant. Thought King V was brilliant as well. Plenty of meters in them. I looked at another stat. I might bring it in. I don't know from now on. Average gains on every carry that we did. Callum Watkins averaged 7 meters a carry. Ben Halliwell averaged 9 meters a carry. Dion Cross averaged 7 meters a carry, and Ken Seo averaged 10 meters a carry. Paul.
That's what you want. You don't want a player going in the first contact and being pushed back. You want your player to hit and keep moving, keep his legs pumping, keep driving, and that's how you make the space. Don't then quick play the ball and away you go. And I think, when Ben came off the bench, I thought he was a real live wire, and I think Paul Rowley said that in the interview. He used to be a back, didn't he? I think he played standoff. I think he can play centre as well in his career. So I think Paul likes players like that. He likes athletes, doesn't he? He doesn't like like you said, the robots. You're not bothered about a lot of teams are like that these days. They're robotic with big trundling forwards. You don't want that. You want people with a bit of mobility, and I think we've got plenty of that. We're coming off the bench there. I mean, Atkin. I feel sorry for him sometimes the way he's on the bench every week. He'd cruise into most people's teams, but don't think he minds because he's such a low maintenance guy. And he's happy to be part of it. Come on and do that destruction for you as well. So yeah, I forgot what the question was now, but I'm just waffling on. But what was the question?
Just telling you about the average gains, but you answered it.
Oh, sorry.
Talked about.
Yeah. No, and I think, but we can see you get that because Ken is a real hard worker. He'll come in looking for work, won't he, off the wing and take the ball, takes a bit of pressure off the forwards. Just going back to what Paul was saying about Tim Laffey, he's so elusive. He's so hard to tackle. He must be an absolute nightmare for the opposition to play against because you don't know which way he's going to go, and he's a strong bloke as well. He could play in the forwards. He's got such good upper body strength and that, and we have really missed him. And I thought Matty Costello did a great job while he was in, and it was a shame that he lost his place in the team to Tim. But just shows you what a good player is. So we have got that sort of strength in depth in the 3/4 line, which is what you need.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports at Man of the Matches. David Deakin, Deja Vu. Heart-stopping again. His man of the match was Mark Sneed. Chairman Bob, Rollercoaster Salford, Mark Sneed. Trev, Brad, Fash's Mullet, Sneed. Colin Wilson, closely contested win, Sneed. Colin Reynolds, ground that out, Sneed. Mark, tough old game, Sneed. Paul Whiteside's mate, Roy Ellaby. Dicky, ticker time, again, Sneed. Sutkins, Kendall looked devastated. I don't think the referee had too much of a bad game, Parker, would you say?
Well, it was Marcus Griffiths who was the referee.
Yeah.
Kendall was on the line, wasn't he? But
yeah.
I actually said at the end of the game, I thought the ref had a decent game. I thought he handled it really well. He wasn't... See, my problem with referees recently is the inconsistency. And there was none of that. If he gave a penalty one way, he'd do the same the opposite. There was not a 6 again every 30 seconds or anything like that. He let the game flow. And when he had to step in, he stepped in. He may have got one or two wrong, but he's a referee. He's not going to get them all right. I think he's probably the best referee performance I've seen at our place this year.
That's a compliment coming from our resident conspiracy theorist. Anyway, other things. Chris and Janet Shenton, another good win. CEO, Natalie Taylor, 2 weeks running. Sneed. Parker, you said always had enough. Dupree. Anita, past me, Gaviscon, Heartburn Reds, Ackers and CO, CNR, just doing enough. Barela, Ben Wheeler, another good win. Halliwell, Richard Morton, more composure needed. Sneed, Nicholas Fletcher, always better side. Sneed, Rich Taylor, Salford heart attack. Sneed, Chris Owen, stuck at it. Sneed, Jimmy, crucial 2 points. Sneed, Eric Rawson, 2 more points. Briley, Chris Borgs, no ref complaints, like you said, Parker. Stephen Moz, composure, tough battle, Riley. Dave H, defence needs improvement, Riley. So we're looking down that list. Paul, it was at the mark sheet. Mark Sneed should have took the accolade on Sunday.
Yeah, well, his all-round game was good. He scored a good try. His goal kicking was pretty good. I think he missed 2, which is quite rare for him. 4 from 6, dropped a goal as well, very composed for that. You knew damn well what was going to happen on that last set there. You knew he was going to drop that goal. And he's so accurate, he's so calm. He's a talisman. If you're going to be a good, successful side, every team needs a bloke like him in the team because his goal kicking's brilliant. He's dead accurate. He hardly ever misses any. He's always in the right place at the right time if you need a drop goal. He'll pull you the 40-20 out of the bag. He kicked from the scrum for that try. he does everything. He does all the little things right and does them perfect as well. So he's a top-class player, is Mark Sneyd, and he has been for a number of years. And I know he's clocking on a bit now, but I think us signing him was an absolute masterstroke. And I think if you ask Hull supporters or the old chairman, he'll probably say to you, why did we let him go? It was a mistake. And he's a super player. I think he's a very underrated player as well, Rob. People don't always rave about him. They'll go on about other players, the Johnny Lomaxes of this world and people like that, but they hardly ever mention Sneedy, because with players like him, he does it so well week in, week out. He just goes unnoticed sometimes. And just going back to the referee, that Marcus Griffiths, I think he's one of the best referees in the league, because you never see him. He just lets the game flow. I said to my dad on Sunday, if it was our first 6 again, was in the second half, and I'd not heard that hoot. I mean, something wrong with the hoot apparently anyway, but I couldn't think of it. That's what someone said to me. It wasn't working right, but I hardly heard it go or heard the referee penalise anything. That's what you want. You want a referee to referee the game with a bit of common sense. We're not playing football. It's a contact sport, rugby league, and give the players a bit of leeway. And as long as there's that respect there between the players and the referee, that's bang on. And I thought he refereed it really, really well. And if some other referee, if Kendall's watching, take a leaf out of his book and just, it's not about you, it's about the two teams. Just have a bit of common sense and let the game flow.
Yeah, Parker, a few people talked about heartburn Reds or heart attack Reds. For me, you're playing in these games is only going to help you further down the line, because you're going to be in this situation come playoff time. So if you're able to perform in this pressure cooker atmosphere when it comes down to playoff time later on, when there's real pressure, you'll be able to deliver the goods.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what people are saying. I didn't feel it that way. The week before against Huddersfield, definitely. Up to the last 10 seconds, we could have lost that game. Like I said earlier, I always felt we had enough to beat Hull right throughout the game. If we just stopped forcing the pass and cut out the odd error that we were making, that we didn't need to make. I mean, for that interception we gave away down the far side, away from on the east stand side, we could have just held that ball, but we wanted to force that extra pass, and we forced it. They knew what we were going to do. You could see it a mile away, but it's that split second thinking, just to get control and say, I'm keeping this. And then they don't go up the other end. Things like that. If we just cut them out, I always thought we had more than Hull. I really did. I don't know why I thought that. They're a decent enough team. But, I get what you're saying. You want it to be a little bit more comfortable. But I thought we had enough for the game.
I suppose that's a learning process, in it, knowing when to hold them and knowing when to run. I think there's a famous song with that as well, but which kind of springs to mind. It'll come to me hopefully shortly. So good win for Salford against Hull. Let's move on to the ladies. They were in Super League action and lost to Lee on the community pitch. They went down 50 points to 10. Parker, depleted squad, lots of absentees through injury and work, etc. Battled hard, but unfortunately went down to defeat.
Yeah, they seem to be doing it tough at the moment, don't they? The step up is obviously a big one. That's it. These more established teams are doing to us what we were doing to others last year. And if you don't get a full team, you see it at every level of rugby league. If you don't get your best players out in the park, you're going to struggle. We just need that one win, that one bit of confidence, I think, at the moment to make things click. But it wasn't going to be easy this year. We're just learning again. And if you are missing key players, you're gonna be in trouble. And that's what we've got at the moment. And it is difficult, because like the men's team, we've only got a small squad of players to pick from. And when you dip deeper into that squad, the less experience you've got, and you're coming up against teams like Lee and obviously Wigan and teams like that. It's a massive step, as we're finding out. But we'll pick up a few wins as the season goes on. But this week, it just isn't happening at the moment. But the girls can't get too downhearted. We know what can happen. You've seen it, like I say, at all levels. We get our full side out on the pitch, and we'll certainly step up, and somewhere along the line something will break for us.
Yeah, so it's a learning experience for our ladies. Obviously, like we said, lack of bodies, tough competitors. Lee doing well so far this season, but like you say, that they're building on it. They'll turn the corner. Don't forget they beat Castleford in the first game, which was great, and I'm sure they'll bounce back from the defeat against Lee. better news, Parky, though, is the return of Casey Naylor. The prop forward returned to the squad, played fantastic last season, a real rock and roll front row, and also has an eye for a try as well.
Yeah, again, that's what we need. We need players with experience, players who know the game. Who are going to do well. She was great for us last year. And again, you forget. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't hope she's not listening. I forgot about her. Because just hadn't seen her about, hadn't seen her name or anything like that. Yeah. And you do, and then you start. It's like when you lose this year. So the first team could lose a player, and they're not playing. You just sort of forget about them and carry on with whoever you've got, and then obviously you go, "Oh, but him to come back yet." So it's obviously a massive boost. And I'm sure the girls will know that. And you want fresh blood in many ways and faces to just mix it up a little bit and give you a bit more, confidence and a bit more sort of familiarity in the squad. And you know how she plays, you know what she's going to offer you. And it's something else to rely on now. An extra body. When you're getting beat like that every week, you're doing more defending, than you are attacking. You're not having the ball. So you're getting whacked about, you're hurting. And then, like we say about these girls, they have to go to work and uni or wherever else through the week. They're not, they're not going home, coming back, doing rehab, having 2 hours training and going playing golf. This isn't happening. It's tough for them. And, I've got nothing but respect. It was good to see a few of them at half-time the other day as well. So just need them to remember the good times, and it'll all come back.
Yeah, they've also brought in another player, Jessica, is it Panye Otter? I'm sure Marcel will be tapping me shortly, tell me if I've got that wrong. But yeah, she's a second row, played rugby union, so she's come in as well, Parky. So that's another name to look out for.
Yeah, again, like I say, you need fresh blood. We need to get bodies into the squad. More numbers, the better chance we've got. Giving these girls, a week off or whatever when we can, and let them rest up, because as the season goes on, it's only going to get tougher. So if we can get players in, players with experience, wherever they're from, whatever code, whatever sporting background, really, just people who know about sport and how it works, it's going to help us. And we do need a bit of a lift. But like I say, the girls, we're still learning. We're not much over 12 months old there. So we've took a big step in that first year, and I think that the reality hits now, doesn't it? That it's not as easy as we thought. But I've still got all confidence in the girls, and we will get better, and we will get stronger, and we will have more players eventually. Hopefully, everything going on off the pitch at the moment around the club can help that. And yeah, I'm still full of confidence, and we'll still pick up a few wins this year.
Yeah. So let's move on to the reserves now. They were in action against Hull on Saturday, went down to defeat 52 points to 6. Salford's only try scorer was Alex Davidson. Lovely assist by Jordan Brown, offloading the tackle, and Davidson crashed over from a yard out. Hull were the better side throughout, bigger, attack the edges better. It's a learning process for Stuart Wilkinson's lads.
Yeah, it's a big defeat, that, isn't it? And a disappointing one. But like you said, with the reserves and that, you're not, I don't know, it's a tough one. You're not going out to sort of win the league, I suppose, at this stage, because they're a newish team, aren't they? So it's all about building, isn't it? And we said the other week, it was great to see some of the first team lads in there, getting back to full fitness and going on their journey. So yeah, it's a learning curve for a lot of these lads, because a lot of the lads in the reserves are quite new to the sport as well. There's a lot of young kids in there. So yeah, it's tough. Same with the ladies. You do find those sort of patches. We know, watching the first team, we've gone on mad runs of losing 10, 11, 12 games on the spin, and we've seen it before. You laugh, Rob, but you remember them. You remember them days, and they're not that long ago. And it's just about sticking together, isn't it? And you get through these times, don't you? So the reserves won't be too downhearted by that. Hull are a good side, aren't they? Well coached side. They've had that pathway in there for a number of years now, haven't they? A lot of those lads might have been together since the academy days. So they're building along. It's all about a building process, isn't it? It's, these results won't come straight away.
I remember them glory days. Well, I say I remember them. I was drunk for most of it. But yeah, I bet you'd go 10 games without win, Park, and then you'd be thinking, should we sack the coach or not? What do you reckon?
Yeah, we often didn't sack him soon enough, I don't think. No, going on about the reserves there, though. A few weeks ago, we had Dixon, Helliwell, people like that, Longstaff, whatever, all playing in the reserves. And when injuries hit the first team, you lose that. And a bit of experience with them lads wouldn't help. It wouldn't go amiss. if you had a fully fit squad, if you could put probably, Williams and a Costello in there and a few of the other, you wouldn't get them results. But the lads are learning a lot. They're getting a lot of experience. I looked at that team sheet the other day and I thought I was a little bit worried for them when it got, when the team sheet came out, because I looked at the whole team and I thought there's probably one or two names on there you could probably pick out. But Hull are a good example of what you can do with your reserve and your academy. I think on Sunday, 5 players in the first team were Hull lads. That's where we want to go. I know it's what Bleasy wants. I know it's what Paul King wants, and it's what we all want, really. So we just got to stick by him, and hopefully a couple of them. We've mentioned in the past. There's a few, and Billy Walkley and people like that. Jack Stevens, who's always shown great promise to me. We've just got to keep nurturing them and hopefully give them a chance at some point into the first team. But they're learning. I don't really take much credence from the results at the moment. It's not about that. We haven't got an academy, so this is as close as we've got. And sometimes it's literally men against boys, and it's not going to be easy for them.
No. So that's our look back at the matches this week. And now we'll look at all the big news that have come out of the club this week. So I'll start off with the celebration. Parky, the Reds Rise Again campaign has passed its initial target of £250,000. Fantastic. Happy days.
Yeah, I think we made 275 by this evening. That's what an effort. To all them fans out there, just in this day and age, I'll be honest, I probably said it to you both, I didn't think we'd make it. And we haven't just made it, there's still 5 days to go, and we've smashed through it. Who knows where we could go? And if we'd have had maybe a bit longer, God knows, sky's the limit. But no, it's brilliant, and it gives the club now a massive chance for a stable footing. Bringing the right people to do the right jobs, which then can create that extra money that we need. At the moment, I've said before, I've been to the club on a working day, and when you realise how few people actually make that a professional sports club run there, it's incredible the amount of work they do. These people, they're like Swiss Army knives. They just do everything. And we need more bodies and more professionals, people who do that job day to day for a living, whether it's marketing, whether it's promotions, whatever it is, commercial work. This now gives us a chance to bring in people to do that, to get out into the community, again, to spread the word, to bring people in, bums on seats, season tickets. It's all money. It's all going in the coffers, but you've got to start somewhere. We've not been fortunate enough to get a benefactor recently. I know Paul King mentioned last week that we had people come in with money willing to take over, but they wanted the ground. We can't offer that. It's not ours. We can't do that. And when it came to the club, they're just not interested in just buying a rugby club. So it's time to do it for ourselves. And, you guys out there have absolutely blown my socks off. Really have. Some of the generosity of some people, and I honestly don't know how you've done it. But it's just now, after I come out of that meeting last Tuesday, I had such a buzz about the club and the future. If we could do this, that we're going to set a precedent that I think many rugby clubs and many other sports clubs, professional football clubs, could easily follow, probably will follow, to become community owned.
I didn't want to be that guy, but I think I might have to be. It's not 250 grand and out. This is a stepping stone. This is what needs to be done. It's not. We're not there. This is just a step on the journey, Paul, and that is a good thing. Obviously, press release from the club with Paul King beaming about it, but it wasn't champagne. It wasn't brass band. It wasn't conga lines. It was, we've got what we need and let's go again.
Yeah, because in the cold light of day, 250 grand these days is a good start, but it's not mega money, is it? That could soon get swallowed up if it wasn't invested in the right places. So you can't be getting too overexcited, but it's a great start. And, it makes me think sometimes you look at the likes of Leeds, Wigan, Warrington, some of these clubs, and when we've been there, haven't we, around the behind the scenes doing the press stuff and that, and you look at how they tick. And then you look at Salford, and I know people scoff at us sometimes, saying, "Oh, your crowds are crap, this, that, and the other." And I sort of beam with pride inside sometimes. I think, yeah, this small club of ours that only gets sort of 4,000, it only has about a dozen people working there, and yet we're competing in that league with these teams. We're getting to grand finals. We're pushing them all the way. Can you imagine what we could do if we were on the same sort of footing as them, with the same sort of money, with staff there who can actually... People will say to you, "Oh, they never market anything in Salford." Yeah, but we haven't got any people there to do the marketing because we haven't got a marketing team. So, I mean, what do you want us to do? At the end of the day, we all sort of muck in ourselves, don't we? And it's always been like in the years I've watched Salford. So, you know, imagine if we had professional people who was there doing the job, how much better the club would run. I mean, the club is brilliant. I mean, the way it is, I mean, I was a bit emotional when I saw all that, because what you've got to think is, if there wasn't a club and it wasn't there, and it wasn't in your life, wow, it'd be a massive gap. It'd be a massive hole in my life anyway. And I felt that sort of way when QCAS took over, and I thought he was going to change the name. I thought, what would I do without the club? And I used to say to Ellen, what would I do? I mean, I've got my kids, I've got my family, which I love to bits, but that Salford Red Devils has always been in my life since I was 4 or 5 years old when I started going. And, you know, it'd be such a big hole. So for this now, it finally looks like it's going to be there and going to be secure. We don't want to keep mithering and going on every season about, oh, we're going to survive. Can we pay these bills? Are we going to go bust? We want it to be there and taken care of. And like Rob was saying there, if that was setting a precedent of being run by the community and other clubs are doing that, that'd be fascinating if that's how the club could run it. It'd be like a cooperative, wouldn't it? How that started all those years ago, and that it's not impossible. I think that'd be amazing, and it's just the start of it now. But no, it's good.
Parker, you went to the meeting. What was your thoughts?
First of all, I've got to say how professional I thought it was.
Yeah.
Very, very un-Salford like. No, no, it was everybody. All the speakers spoke passionately and knowledgeably. You know, Andy Burnham being there. You know, I don't care what you think of some of his policies, like the clean air and that kind of stuff. Anyway, he spoke very well on our behalf, and he's going to look from as mayor of Manchester, Greater Manchester, as to how he can help us become a stronger club, i.e., what can be done away from the rugby side. What he was talking about, transportation. He knows, he's seen what a struggle it is to get to the ground sometimes. You know, there's one bus in, one bus out, and that kind of thing. And he's going to look and try and help us with that. And we've got that contact now, so that's massive, because you're going to the top. Do you know what I mean? We're not messing about. The mayor of Salford, Paul Dennett, was brilliant. He's bought shares himself, which, you know, full credit. So a lot of times you'll hear politicians tell you what you want to hear, but not do anything about it. He's put his hand in his pocket and he's helped us. He was really good, and the council sound like, you know, he's risked a lot, Paul Dennett, to be fair. He's gone against quite a bit of advice from his own people. You know, there are people in that council who we've known for a long time don't particularly like Salford Rugby League Club. Didn't want us to get the stadium, don't want to help us out with the law. Gone against all that, and he's helped us, and he's helped the people of Salford in that way. As a council taxpayer in this city, I can't thank him enough for what he's done. And then you've got Paul King. You know what you're getting off Paul. You know the passion. You know he talks as a fan. You know, he's in a privileged position, or not, as he may see it. You know, it's a poison chalice in many ways, and you can't please everyone. But he was brilliant. Andy Rosler, Paul Trainer, they were excellent. But for me, it's the plan. It's what it gives us chance to do now. The doors it will open. The extra funding, the sports match funding we can apply for now, which is going to top this up to a massive figure. You know, so the more we get, obviously, the better the outcome for us. You can get up to 80% or something extra. It's ridiculous. I can't remember the figures, but I've got the booklet downstairs that they gave us on the night. Fantastic. Sort of prospectus on what's going on. And the time that was spent, and the guy, you know, everyone stayed behind. If you had questions, rather than have to put your hand up and ask in an audience of a few hundred people, you might not want to do that. They stayed behind. They answered everyone's questions. It was just, I walked out there and I was beaming. I know me, like I said, I went with my brother, and he was the same. I think we were blown away by what we'd heard and how this helped. It's easy to say, give us your money, in a Bob Geldof style sort of, these people are struggling here. But you want to know what it's for. People aren't daft. They won't just hand over money. And the proof for me is how much has been raised from that day to today. But I think it's an extra £90,000 in a week. £90,000 in 1 week for that. From that Tuesday night, from what was said to today, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible, and that's what got across. Anyone who was there that night couldn't have walked out of that room without going, I think I'll have a bit of this. Brilliant.
I watched the replay on RDTV, which is free. So if you didn't manage to get down to the stadium for the big meeting, you can catch it up on RDTV. A couple of things that stood out for me, Parky, was, like you said, there was all the benefactors that wanted to get involved were after the stadium. And obviously when they realised they couldn't get the stadium, they all backed off slowly. But I think the important thing, what Paul King was kind of putting on, was the fact that it's the brand of Salford Red Devils which will kick this forward. He talked about the different teams that we've been setting up. He talked about esports in China, where our brand, might sort of be able to take off and generate more income in different revenue streams, which is exciting. And things like that is the way this club is going to have to function, because, like Paul King said, we can't run on £4,000. We need to find other ways of making money.
You only have to go back to the late 60s and 70s to see then that there was a revolution took place at the Willows when Brian Snape realised that rugby league itself would die if it didn't find other ways of raising money, because there's no money in the game. There never has been and never will be. So unless you've got a wealthy benefactor, you're always going to be living hand to mouth. And this, so we built the Willows. We had a variety centre. They had a casino in there at one time. They used to have, obviously the restaurant, making money off the pitch. Friday night, Saturday night, a variety centre. It was a genius idea to put money back into the club. Super. And that's the way we're doing it now. That's what we're looking at now. And it's not just a first team. It's not just 70 people turning up that's the pinnacle of what we are. But it's what's below that that's going to boost us. Get everybody involved. Get the whole community involved. I never heard anything about that esports until that night. And you think about it, that's the way the world is. That's the way the youth of this world is now. That's what they want to get involved in. And if they get involved in Salford Rugby League Club by playing games or doing whatever, I'm not bothered. As long as they get involved, we've got to look at every avenue. And then obviously Paul King went on to mention China came up again, didn't he? He going to play a game over there against, I think he mentioned St. George or whoever, but, why not aim that way? Well, it's not. Why can't we be first? We've been first on a lot of things, and these connections we've got with Ipswich in Australia and the Copperheads in the US and, obviously Red Star, and it's getting our name out there. We are becoming a brand. It's not just a team. It's not just a rugby team. And that's what we need to do. We need to expand that way to bring money in. And who knows, we might end up with a Shanghai supporters club. And one of them might be a multimillionaire and decide, you know what, I quite fancy a bit of that. Whatever it is. But at the same point, we're getting out there. We're not just sticking. As much as we're doing what we can in Salford and Greater Manchester, we're looking further afield. And the plans are massive. And I'm not going on about world domination and stupid cash, airy-fairy water parks and things like that. I'm talking about real prospects for this club now to go forward. And we're guiding it. The fans are guiding it. It's our job as investors. We are now, like Paul said, we're the ticket sellers. We're the advertising. There's nearly 1,000 people put the money in now. If every one of them can just do a little bit, whatever it is, in whatever way you can add your professionalism or a little idea you might have. We're all invested. It's ours. So we've got to do what we can. You would if you own investment in normal stocks and shares. So let's do it for this.
Yeah. Paul. He talked about investing in the marketing team and the commercial side of the club as well. He wanted to change the narrative of the club from a selling club to a club that's alive and wants to progress and move forward. Wants to talk about growing the attendance. And like Parky said, over, I think it's 1,000 owners now. The responsibility to make this a success lies with us. Being an owner is a big thing, but doing something to make a difference is even bigger.
Yeah, I get that, but there's also the wider thing now as well. I get where the club are coming from, but you can't keep sort of going to that well and preaching to the converted, if you like. We need to start preaching to people who don't go to the match. I mean, people who are buying a season ticket and investing in this are investing a lot of money. You know, a season ticket's a few £100. So once you've done all that, I don't suppose you can keep asking them next season. You've got to start going out to people who are not attending the matches. There's lots and lots of people live in Salford who don't get involved with rugby league, so you can't keep banging on your supporters all the time. So they're already doing their bit now, so it is important that other people start getting involved as well. Otherwise, your attendance isn't ever going to grow, are they? So, yeah, it's one of those now. We have to just watch this space and see who gets involved in that. But it's going to be a difficult thing. But no, like you say, with the money, and I've read that prospectus and that, it's good what's going to happen now. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. Like you said there, Paul, you can't keep going to the well. But we now have 1,000 people who are invested in this, and like as an owner, it's your responsibility to push the club forward, however you feel you can do that, and that is what Paul King said. That's what Andy Rosler said, and is in many words. The speech Andy Rosler made was so important for me, Parker, talking about the levelling up fund. About the £200,000 that we've raised is then matched by the government, who gives 80%. So our 200k and 800k equals £1 million, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, I thought Andy was. I mean, I've known Andy for many years. I know he's always been a passionate fan, and he's been working behind the scenes for a long time now. Since I think he came in when Kukash was there, or around that time, and. You know, so I know he's another one with the club at heart, and he's been massive behind this push for these shares. He's sort of took it on himself, I think, you know, to look into the legal obligations and everything else. And I think, you know, I think he's done a great job. But yeah, that's exactly what it is now. It's where we're saying about crowds. Well, there's 1,000 people put their money in, so you don't want to waste your money. If the club goes bust, you've lost it all. You know what I mean? So it's your job to push this club now. So in a few weeks' time, we've got Wigan coming to town. Now, if we're still flying, and Wigan will be flying, you know that, it could be a lovely day, a nice afternoon. We've got the Armed Forces Day and all that. If you can sort of tell everybody you know what you're doing that weekend or coming up, if you fancy it, why don't you come down? If we can get 6,500, 7,500, 8,000 in that ground, I mean, that's unbelievable. And you will be entertained. There's no doubt about it. You will love the day. You will watch rugby league and go, that was quite good. If some of them come back the week after, you've done your job, the money, you know what I mean? These people can get hooked. It's our job to do that. And I know a lot of us have done it for years. We've told everybody till we're blue in the face, but there's never been that push for it. There's never been that. It's sort of like, you know, you come in again, no, I can't. Now it's our job. It's our money. You know, you've sunk your own cash in. Drag them there. Tell them, come down. You're going to love it. Come and watch us. And if we can start getting 6,000 every week to every game, and we've got some big games coming up, big crowds, Wigan, Leigh, Warrington, Saints, Leeds have still got to come. I know they don't always bring that many, but, you know, these teams have still got to come to our gaff. We could get 6 and 7s. That's a lot of money in the till. Now we're taking so much from food and drink on the day, you know. People then might want to buy a shirt. They'll do, and then they might want to invest in the future. So this share thing won't end. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can come up again. We can do it all. They can just keep putting the money in however you want. And I just think it's a great thing that as I felt a pride the other night. I think that's what it was. A pride in sort of fellow Salford fans, and it felt like, yeah, we're all together. We are in this together. It's our time now to do something. And when we do have some success, it's our success. You know, it's not down to one man putting his cash in or whatever who could take everything. It's ours.
Yeah, Rossi talked about the side of the club, the commercial side, growing to match the amount of money the Super League give us as well, and how hard that's going to be, but how they're going to work hard, and with new bodies and more bodies, and also the ownership as well, the new fans that have invested, how they're going to be able to continue with the momentum, Paul, which was exciting. Talked about business engagement, talked about engaging with new fans, like Park had said, talked about getting subcommittees for fan engagement, commercial activities, match day experience, which is always sort of important. We want that match day experience to be the best it can be to attract fans in.
Sounds very complicated, Bob, to me, all that sort of stuff. It goes over my head a bit. But yeah, you know, the more people get involved, the better. And like, for me, I couldn't give a toss about the sort of the entertainment before the game. We just go to watch the match. But a lot of people do now. I mean, look at the league games this season. People have gone there, the entertainment they've had on fireworks, they've had like bands on every week, haven't they, and all that. So, and there's no sort of coincidence that their crowds have gone through the roof this season, haven't they, at League Sports Village? So, if you can do things like that, I think it's great. And yeah, there's so much going on, isn't there? There's so many different paths to this. And like Parky said there about this won't be the end of it. You know, you can do this whenever you want. If you wanted to do it every season, you could. You could open another one up. There's always going to be times for people to invest in that, and hopefully businesses and the people of the area as well. There's a lot of businesses in Salford. There's a lot of people that live in the area and the Greater Manchester area as well. So let's hope some of them get involved. And you know, the world is our oyster. We've said it before about don't want to like bag other teams off, but there's other teams in that Super League that probably have got a bit of a ceiling, whereas us don't think we have. We could potentially be the biggest team in that league. You know, the catchment area we've got and the vibrancy of where the ground is and where we play in the Greater Manchester area. It's such a sort of growing place, isn't it, really? So yeah, it's really, really exciting times. And, you know, a lot of people were quite cynical about this, particularly journalists and that, and the wider people of rugby league. And I think they're starting to have a look at it now and think, blimey, they're not doing bad, Salford. Their supporters are quite loyal, aren't they? As if they didn't know anyway. But we are. You know, there's not many clubs who'd get behind this. I mean, I can think of other clubs in Super League where they probably wouldn't have bothered. But I think the community spirit of Salford and the fact that we are sort of, we were saying it before about Rowley, weren't we? We're an us and them sort of thing. We are backs to the wall. We'll get in a corner and we'll fight our way out and we'll stick together. I think it's always been like that as being a Salford supporter. I think we look after one another, don't we? So that's the spirit of the city, really. I'll be honest with you, I'm not Salford. I wasn't born in Salford. My family were, but I wasn't. So in a way, sometimes I feel a bit of a fraud. But I like to think I've earned my way in through the years. I've watched them sort of thing, and yeah, the spirit of the city is fantastic.
Yeah, Paul Dennett, the mayor, Parker, he was full of praise for the foundation, talked about engaging with the local people in the area. He also mentioned the Latin on the badge, that the spirit of the people is higher than the law. So he's obviously keen for the club and the council and the people of Salford to engage and grow the club as well as provide for the people in the city.
Yeah, I like to say, I mean, Paul he spoke really well, and again, you know, he spoke about the stadium, about making the stadium an event, a place for not just for rugby, but for, you know, for the community, for Salford, to make it work. And once you get people there and they know where it is, you know, because there'll be people who live in Salford who don't know where this ground is. You know, there'll be people in Salford, there'll be thousands and thousands who won't know when we play, who we play, or what we are. And that's crazy, you know, in any town or city in the country. But we've never been able to get out there. And he's going to help that. He's going to be part of that push. I mean, it's also, see, the thing is, there's a health and lifestyle issue with you know, I mean, inner city kids now and well, everybody really, you know, with obesity and everything else. And that could be the mecca for this city, for people to get out and do things and be part of something. And the development of the stadium is going to be massive. And the reason we're still in that stadium has a lot to do with Paul Dennett and Salford Council. Let's not, shy away from that. Without them, we could have been kicked out a while ago. So we need a solid footing. We need a base, and we've got one. We know that. But I was really impressed with him, the way he spoke, and he's knowledgeable about it, because he can easily just get a few sound bites and walk off, but he didn't. He knew what he was talking about, and like you say about the community team there, the club, about the work they do. He was fully aware of that, and I think when you've got people like that on board fighting your corner, you've always got a good chance.
And the final speech of the evening, and the best one for me, Parky, was Paul Traynor, passionate about what was going on, talked about taking control and the owners living it, engaging in it, and just being sort of part of it. Talked about the ING as an opportunity to grow the club. And he talked about his school programs, and like you said, going into different countries and engaging them and growing the game. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, Paul was good. And he always is when you read his tweets and that kind of thing. He's always right behind everything. Obviously, it's part of his job, I suppose. Why wouldn't he be? But he was really, really good. And again, it's when somebody speaks, sometimes you listen and and you understand that they know what they're talking about, and this isn't just words, just, like I said before, it's not just give us your money. They've thought about this. This has been planned, and all these people, the talking heads have got together and gone, this is what we need to do to get to where we need to be. IMG aren't going to come in and mess about. They could drop us like a stone if we're not willing to change and develop and become a modern sports club. And not just a sports club, but an institution. And that's the thing. And it might have taken 150 years for rugby league to wake up, rugby league clubs, but this is our wake up now. And I think we've got a great chance of achieving with people like Paul Traynor at the club, who are willing to push us and direct us to places where we've never been.
Final thoughts on this, Paul?
Exciting time, Rob, and good to be part of. I think it's, the future's in our hands, really, isn't it, now? And we've got to look after it. And we say that, don't we, about Chair? I've always said that they're custodians, aren't they? And we're the custodians now. We're the ones who are in charge of it. And, it's up to us how things go, isn't it? And let's just hope people jump on this and on this ride, really. But I look at it sometimes and think, what would happen if, the worst came to the worst and we went bust or whatever. And I always think, well, you've got those loyal people that'll always dig you out of that hole, I think. And, well, whilst we've got this loyal band of supporters that we have got, this hardcore, which seems to be getting bigger and bigger, I think we'll be okay. So, I'm really excited about it all. And I think, this club's going places.
So the other big news of the week, Tyler Dupree, agent, handed a transfer request in on his behalf. The club rejected it, Parky. Contracted to us to the 2025 season. Thought he played out of his skin against Hull. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, I gave him man of the match for Sunday, mainly because of the circus that's gone on around him. From Monday onwards, it was absolute chaos, and he turns up on Sunday and was magnificent. The try he scored, that's great. Like Paul said before, great footwork from a big man, and that's kind of what international props do. So, and at 23, he's got a lot to give. Look, it's a massive blow. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know who's right and who's wrong and who's asked for what and who's not, what the agreements are. But what we've got to do now is do the best for us and the player. Now, if Tyler wants to leave, if it's his decision to leave and he wants to leave Salford, then we've just got to get the best we can for ourselves, the best financial deal. OKR apparently come in with 150 grand. So we've said no. And then we've heard that we're going to come in with a bit more and possibly a player on loan. But we've got to sort out, because Warrington might come along or Leeds might want him back. Or, do you know what I mean? Let's play it. We've got nothing to lose here. He's our player. He doesn't have to go anywhere. We are short of cash and the money would be great. But at the same point, are we going to find another 23-year-old prop forward with the promise that he's got at the moment? That's the tough thing. For me, It was a blow when we heard it, and we were all a bit upset. We were a bit devastated. But these things happen. But he's gone nowhere yet. He's still our player, and he proved on Sunday that he's happy. He's obviously, willing to stay and do his job like a true professional. So hopefully we can get through this week now with him, and then we can look. But I mean, if somebody comes in with a couple of 100,000 and a player, I think you'd probably be stupid to turn it down, because these days you don't get transfer fees. Nobody's giving cash away. What could we do with that? We could bring in 2 or 3 players with that kind of money, plus the player you've got from them. We're short of players. As much as I'd love to keep Tyler, I'd love to keep Tyler in a 20, 30 man squad. Unfortunately, we've got about 25 players. And once you pick up a few injuries, we're going to struggle. So, bad news in one way, but it's a great asset. And what we've done, what Leesy has done and Paul King have done, is secured her by giving him that big contract back in December. No matter what it was, we tied him down. We've tied a lot of players down. If you want our players, we don't want to sell them, but if you want them, it's going to cost you some money. They're not just going to walk away from the club at the end of the year. They're not free agents. These are our players. So for me, it's win-win. If he goes, we get a big chunk. If he stays, we've got a great player.
Yeah. Paul King and I think Paul Rowley said that they don't need to sell. Which is a good thing, Paul, because obviously they talk about, do you want to change the narrative of the club and not be a selling club? I suppose it's the flip side of being the opportunity club, that these players get the chance from the Championship, they turn into a Super League player, we reward them with a good contract, then they get even better, represent the country, and then people come sniffing. So it is the flip side of being that opportunity club, but the only way you break that cycle is to keep all your best players.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if we don't need to sell him, don't sell him. But on the flip side of that, if a player wants to go, what's the point in holding him against his will? One thing I found a bit iffy was he signed a new contract, and then all this sort of came about after he played for England. So as somebody in the England dressing room said to me, you want to put a transfer request in there at Salford, you get you and Miles more money at Ulker or Warrington or Wigan. It just seems a bit iffy to me what his motive would be to move. Obviously, it's probably for more money. But if I was Paul Rowley or the people looking after him at Salford, I'd be saying, well, just hang fire. Have a think about it. Keep playing your socks off this season. If you're still unhappy at the end of the season, then go to Wigan, Warrington or Ulker or whatever. But you're playing for Salford this season. You still got a chance of winning something. We're in the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup. We've got a great chance of getting to the playoffs. You could win something with this club and then move on to wherever you want to go. Players have moved on before and left clubs, and it's not always worked out. The grass isn't always greener. So his agent might tell him over the Wooden Hills at Bedfordshire, it's absolutely marvellous over there. It might not be, though. It doesn't always work out. So Tyler's got a massive decision to make. You obviously employ an agent to look after your career and your welfare and what have you. But I just wonder if I got the chance to ask Tyler, my question would be, what makes you want to go? Why do you want to leave Salford? I've got nothing against the lad whatsoever, but I'd just like to know his reasons behind it. But yeah, let's hope he can stay for the season. If he can and he wants to go, I think Paul Rowley knows how to get. If his head's not in it, Paul Rowley won't pick him. So I won't worry about that. So I think Tyler's professional enough to play well for Salford whilst he's still at the club. Yeah. But like Parky said, if a club comes in with an offer that's too good to turn down, then what do the club do? Do they say, well, we've got a chance of winning something here, so let's keep hold of him, or do we take the case? It's a gamble, isn't it? Sport's a gamble, so it's a tough situation.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant against Hull, Parky. Obviously, under all that pressure of everything that was going on during the week, what do we say on this podcast? Pressure is a privilege. And he showed, obviously, this is the world he lives in now, because every week fans will be looking at him to put in that big performance week in, week out. There's pros and cons, like we've said, about keeping him or letting him go. I suppose it's about the brand of Salford Red Devils, like Paul King said in the meeting, and how that might be damaged if he does leave. But like Paul's just said, if we get to the end of the season and then we reevaluate it, that'll be good as well. So lots for Paul King and the rest of the board to mull over in the next week or so.
Yeah, I think this. I mean, we don't know what's in his contract. I don't know. he said himself on his Twitter account, there's two sides to every story. But, you know, whatever it is, it is. But as I say, we can't lose it. If we get a couple £100,000 and bring a player in, possibly or not, you can look around the league and pick up a couple of players for that, a couple of forwards that we might need. You know, we're winners. We're the winners in this. So we've done the right thing. We found a talent that cost us nothing. He could end up bringing in hundreds of thousands and opening up more doors and more avenues to bring in more players. You know, and if he stays, yes, it is a sign that, you know, this is Salford now. This is not what we do. My only concern is, and this is no disrespect to Old Kingston, but if he's going to go, I'd like to see him go up a club, if you like. And I don't like saying that, but Wigan obviously is, you know, the big name, Saints for obvious reasons, even Warrington for the money they spend every year, you know. I see Ulker as a bit of a sidestep, rather than a forward. Now, if it's about money, then that's entirely up to him. I don't know Ulker they're going to pay him, but that'd be my only thing. If he's going to leave, go to a big club. He'll deserve it, you know. But at the moment, for me, he's only played 20 odd Super League games, if that. He's not proved anything just yet. So, as much as I'd love to keep hold of him, if we don't, we don't. We move on. Like Paul said, it's happened before. We don't like it happening, but I think at the moment, with the rest of that squad that we've got, we could add 2 or 3 players. We're only going to get stronger anyway.
Might get a golden peg at OKR, possibly. We only have the standard metal one. But it's, you know, we don't know what the story is, do we? And like you say, we'll have to wait and see. Paul, you know, he's been, like Parky said, he's been a good player. He's got his future to think about. But like you said, we get a decent amount of money. Paul Rowley regularly talks in his press conferences about not having any money to spend, and if he does get a transfer fee for him, opportunity to invest in 2 or 3 players from the Championship, similar ability, and start that cycle again. But this time, 2 years, 3 years down the line, when we've had this Red Rise campaign up and running, and 1,000 owners have found 3 friends to bring to the match, we don't have to sell.
Well, you do it to suit you, Rob. I mean, if you sell him and then have a look at Championship, there's nobody available. You do your own work first, don't you, to make sure there's players available. There's no point having a load of money to spend when there's no one available to spend it on. So yeah, like Parker said there, I mean, I've got nothing against Old Kingston Rovers, but they're all bigger than Salford. That's how it right. I mean, everyone goes in about Huddersfield and all the players going there. We got a bigger crowd than them at the weekend. So what's going on there with them? So there's a lot of hot air talks in rugby league sometimes. I mean, I'm pretty sure the same agent of Dupree is the same agent of Niall Evans, and he went to that big club that is Castleford. And I know Niall won a Lance Todd Trophy and played in a cup final and is a super player, but his career's sort of not really gone on. So sometimes is it right to you've got to make the decision that's made has got to be the right decision for you, not your agent. You've got to make the decision right, and I'm sure Tyler will do, but I won't fancy driving up that M62 every day to Ulker. So if he's gonna go there, make sure you move house, because that motorway is right boring, isn't it? But no, I'm sure he'll make the right decision, and you know, it's just a funny story, because I think you sort of get taken by surprise with it, because we don't have transfers in rugby league. You don't really expect this sort of thing, do you? So when it happens, it's like, oh, blimey, someone's come in trying to take one of our players. But on the other side of the coin, yeah, because we've got good players, and players are playing well. No one's interested in Warrington's players at the moment. Are they coming in for Salford players? So, yeah, I'd like us to hang on to him, just for the fact that we're going places at the moment. If we were bottom of the table like Wakefield, winning bugger all and in the doldrums, then you probably say, yeah, we might as well sell him because we're going down anyway. But we're not. We've got a chance of silverware. So that's the sort of annoying thing. But we'll have to see how it goes. There's a chance he could stay. I'm sure there is, but I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. That's the name of the game. Sit here and watch it all unfold. Other transfer activities: Parkett, Andrew Dixon loaned out to Widnes, Ame Borough loaned out to Swinton. Game time, opportunity to get fit.
Yeah, neither of them have had much chance in the first team. I know Andy Dixon was injured, wasn't he, in the friendlies, and then came back into the first team squad. But it takes a while to get that fitness back, especially now. I mean, I'm not bagging him, but him being in his 30s, it's not going to be as easy. So, Yeah, he played at the weekend in the summer bash for Widnes against Swinton, oddly enough, against Amir. And like you say, you keep them fit because we're going to need them. We're going to need these players fully fit at some point in the next, few weeks. The rate that we pick injuries up anyway. It's good that they are out there, sort of, working and getting match fit, getting a bit of game time, a bit of confidence as well in Amir's case. And obviously now we've lost Andy Atkin again. Probably a great chance for him to come back in. Yeah.
And then the final bit of news, new 2-year deal for Chris Atkin. Paul, important, we've retained him. He's developed since he first came. He's a jack of all trades, fills in various positions around the field. Utility is his strength, and also is an important cog in our wheel.
Yeah, I heard that news while I was on holiday. It was like I'd heard the Dupree news, and then it was like, well, this is the bad news, and then this is great news about Atkin. I think from a daft sort of schoolboyish sort of point of view, when I heard about the Dupree thing, it was, I shouldn't really say this, but I'm a supporter and I will say it. It was a bit like, I felt a bit offended. It was like, he's put a transfer request in. Why does he want to leave Salford? That sort of, when you defend the club and think, why would he want to go? And I think you do think like that. And then you sort of think, he's not very loyal and I'd play for Salford for free. So I think when you take your Salford blinkers off, you then see it for what it's for. And I think sometimes you get that knee-jerk reaction. I would never put anything like that on social media. It's just what I thought in my head, like sort of thing. But when I heard the Chris Atkin news, I thought that was great as well. And, Chris, I can't speak highly of him. He's a lovely bloke. He's a fantastic rugby league player. I think we signed a real gem there. I remember when we signed him I think we got him from Ulkar, didn't we? I'd seen him play for Swinton, and I thought he was one of their best players at Ulkar, and I couldn't believe we got him because I think he's improved as well tenfold since he's come to Salford. He'd walk into most Super League sides, probably all Super League sides now. He's such a useful player. I don't want to call him a utility player because I think that's offensive to him, really. It doesn't really sum him up of how good he is. He's so tough. I mean, you look at the physicality of him as well, the muscle on him, he's a solid player. The hits he takes sometimes and just gets back up, gets on with it. And he's another one, I think we've mentioned it before, low maintenance. I don't think, you ask Paul Rowley and he's not, a moaner. He just turns up, does his job. He's just a professional. He treats rugby league like he's a 9-to-5 job. Comes in and does the business, never moans, just gets on with it. And I think, tying him down's a massive signing for us.
Yeah, Chris Atkin, Parker, complete player for me. Like Paul said, just gets on with it. Tough as old boots, creative, quick, everything you want in a Super League player.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have Chris. Very, very lucky. God knows what position we'd be in without him, to be honest. The amount of positions he actually played for us this year, but when he plays, he doesn't have a bad game. He just doesn't have a bad game. He does his job no matter where he is on the park. He'd be comfortable at fullback in a centre, probably on the wing. And he is a halfback. We know that. He's played loose forward, and obviously hooker. He does, like Paul said there, he doesn't complain. No, there's no, I want to play halfback or I'm moving. There's none of that. It's, where do you need me, boss? What am I doing? Where am I going? I think the biggest thing is the respect he's probably got off his teammates and other players in the game, but how much they love having him around because you can rely on him. He does, he just does everything right. Watch me mock him now. I'm a nightmare at the weekend, but he's, I love watching Chris. It's funny. I was saying to you earlier on, I was flicking through some of the man of match reports today, and he doesn't get a mention.
Yeah.
And it kind of struck me how few votes he's ever got. But it's because you kind of expect him to be that good. He just does what he does. And yet, every week you could walk away from a game and go, oh, that wasn't too good. No, but he was all right, wasn't he? Because he would be. That's exactly it. So, but I said to you the other week about, England call-ups and that kind of thing. His Achilles heel is his utility. How useful he is all over the park, that he's not got a settled position. If he did have, who knows where he could go, but we don't want that now. We don't want that. We've got our halfbacks, that's fine. Okay, if we get an injury, he can stick in there. But it's what he does all over the park and how good he is at every role he plays. I was delighted the other night when he heard. I kind of got a bit emotional, I think, actually. It's a Tuesday night at a meeting when Bleasy came on the stage, and I was a bit like, after the bad news about Tyler, you hear that and you just think, yes, they're the kind of players I want at my club. and he wants to be at my club.
The kind of player who wants to be at our club, and an 8 out of 10 player, which takes the club to a playoff place. You get as many 8 out of 10 players in this squad, it takes us to that next level. Same as when we got to the grand final. We had a squad full of 8 out of 10 players who performed at 8 out of 10 every week, and that's why we got where we got. So Chris Atkin is one of them players, Paul.
He's a player's player, Rob. It's like, I'll use a bit of a work quote now. I've done my job for a long time now, like 20 years, and you'll have engineers and lads who are a bit Teflon. They don't like to get stuck in. They're like, oh, but I'll pass that job back. He can go and do that. And then you have your other lads who'll just do anything. They'll spend 4 or 5 hours in someone's house, just grafting away, just making it bang on, never moaning, just do it full of shit, full of dirt, full of dirt, and they just do it. And they're, we always call them man's man, like sort of thing. You know what I'm saying, don't I? Sometimes I struggle with my examples and that, but Chris Atkin's one of them. You could have him as you working with you, and he won't moan about going under the floor. He won't moan about going in a dirty loft. He won't moan about humping a load of gear outside or carrying all the heavy stuff because that's the man he is. And you know, you need people like that to make things work, and you know, you need blokes like that in your team. You'd be no good if you had a load of, what's the word? I've got to be careful. I try and be politically correct. We used to call them like Mary Ann's, you know, lads who didn't like getting involved in that. Right. And no, Chris Atkins was bang on. He's one of them. You want him. Here's an example. You want him in the trenches next year because he's a bloke you can rely on. He's a bloke you can put your arm around and he'd help you out. He'd carry you out. So he gets my absolute ultimate respect.
Any more potty mouth from you, Paul? I'll have to get out Ryan Wilkes and bleeper.
Sorry, mate. It's getting late for me now. I passed the watershed.
Yeah. I thought the work quote was going to be, if it starts making a funny noise, hit it with a spanner. So that's all the big news coming out of the club this week, and now we'll see what's happening in the world of rugby league with Whiteside's World of Rugby League.
Right, well, here is this week's Stone and Detail Amateur Report and the world of rugby league. We'll start off this week with the National Conference Leagues. Rochdale Mayfield continue their fantastic run in the Premier Division. They had a good win away from home against Thatto Heath Crusaders. Thatto Heath, mid-table side, pretty solid, but Mayfield brushed them aside by 48 points to 4. So Mayfield are up to second, joint top actually, of the Premier Division. Hunslet atop. They've won 8 from 10. Rochdale Mayfield have won 8 from 9, so they've got a game in hand. So great start to the season for Mayfield. Moving on to the fixtures for this week, there was no games involving our local sides in Division 2 or 3. So the fixtures this week, Premier Division on Saturday the 3rd of June, Rochdale Mayfield face York Acorn. In Division 2, Saddleworth Rangers face Myton Warriors, and Waterhead Warriors, who are top of Division 2, are at home to Dewsbury Moor Maroons. Oldham St Anne's, of course, are top of Division 3 as well. So Rochdale Mayfield, Waterhead Warriors and Oldham St Anne's doing really, really well so far this season in the Conference Leagues. Let's have a look now at the universities and UK Armed Forces and the teachers and the police who were taking part in that competition, the President's Cup. England University snatched the Men's President Cup from reigning champions UK Armed Forces, courtesy of a comfortable victory over the Holds in the last round of the competition. This was played at Oral St James last Wednesday. England Universities beat the UK Armed Forces by 32 points to 12, and the Great Britain Police beat the Great Britain Teachers 34-16. So the final table, the Universities won 3 from 3. UK Armed Forces 2 from 3, Great Britain Police 1 from 3, and the GB Teachers lost all 3 of their matches. So a great tournament, and congratulations to England Universities. Well, moving on to the North West Men's League. Not a lot of action at the weekend just gone. There was cup action though. Haresfinch 34, Folly Lane 24. In the trophy, Higginshaw 24, West Bank Bears 0. And the Alliance Cup, Rochdale Mayfield A 32, Thatto Heath Crusaders A 36. Well, in French Rugby League, it was Limoux Grizzlies who grappled their way to glory and the title with a heroic victory over Carcassonne. They won the match by 34 points to 24. That game was played in Narbonne on Sunday. Over 7,500 there to watch that one. So congratulations to Limoux over in France. A great win for them. Moving on to the youth and junior leagues. Not a lot to talk about really. A lot of postponements and no results. But there was a match on Thursday the 25th. In the under-14s North West Cup, it was All St James 12, Saddleworth Rangers 10. The rest of the games were on Sunday, the 28th. Under-15s Division 2, Newton Storm 12, Folly Lane 28. Massive win for Folly Lane. Under-15s who are doing really well this season. Big shout out to them. The under-13s in Division 2, Rochdale Mayfield 4, Halton Falmouth Hornets 28. The fixtures for this Sunday in the Premier Division of the under-18s, it's Lee Minor Rangers versus Salford City Roosters. In the under-16s, Premier Division, Rochdale Mayfield at home to West Bank Bears. Division 2 of the under-16s, Pilkington Rex home to Saddleworth Rangers. West Horton Lions face Latchford Giants. In Division 3, Shevington Sharks are at home to Langworthy Reds. Well, turning our attention to Women's Rugby League now and back to the Women's Super League. There's a couple of games in the top flight at the weekend. Leeds Rhinos 18, St Helens 38. That was played as a curtain raiser on Friday night, Headingley before the men's game. But a big win for St Helens away from home there in that one. Huddersfield Giants 20, Wigan Warriors 30, York 44, Warrington 4, Bradford Bulls 42. Barrow Raiders 42, Barrow Raiders 42, Bradford Bulls 0, and Salford Red Devils on Sunday were beaten 58 points to 10 at home to Lee Leopards. There's just a one game in the Women's Super League South on Saturday the 3rd of June. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, and that's between Cardiff Demons and the Golden Ferns. We'll turn our attention now to NRL Premiership Round 13 over in Australia. It was the Dolphins 26, St George Illawarra Dragons 12, Parramatta Eels 24, North Queensland 16, New Zealand Warriors 22, Brisbane Broncos 26, South Sydney Rabbitohs 26, Canberra Raiders 33, and the Newcastle Knights 28, Manly Sea Eagles 18. So that leaves the top 8. Penrith are top with 18 points, Cronulla Sharks are second with 18 points, Brisbane Broncos are third with 18 points, Melbourne Storm are fourth with 18 points. Then it's Souths with 16, Dolphins with 16, Canberra with 16, and New Zealand Warriors with 14, followed by Gold Coast and Sydney, who were just outside the playoffs on points difference. So there's just 10 points separating Penrith Panthers and bottom club St George Illawarra Dragons. So the NRL Premiership is a very, very close run thing this season. So the fixtures for this week, it's the State of Origin Game 1 at the Adelaide Oval on Wednesday. That's a 11:05 kickoff on Sky Television. If you're lucky enough to be off work and available to watch that, don't miss it. Queensland versus New South Wales. On Friday there is one fixture in round 14. It's West Tigers against Canberra Raiders. That's 11 a.m. kickoff. On Saturday, the 3rd of June, New Zealand Warriors face the Dolphins at 6 a.m. Then followed by 2 televised games. Gold Coast Titans against South Indian Rabbitohs at 8:30. And then Cronulla Sharks against Brisbane Broncos at 10:30. On Sunday, Sydney Roosters face Canterbury Bulldogs at 5 a.m. North Queensland Cowboys home to Melbourne Storm at 7:05. And the televised game at 9:15 is Penrith Panthers against St George Dragons. Well, finally this week, we'll have a look at domestic stuff. It was round 13 of the Betfred Super League. Catalan Dragons 36, Wakefield Trinity 6, Huddersfield Giants 20, Castleford Tigers 4, Hull Kingston Rovers 22, Wigan Warriors 26. That was after Golden Point extra time on Thursday. Leeds 12, St Helens 13. That was after Golden Point extra time on Friday. So 2 fantastic matches there. Lee Leopards had a big win. They beat Warrington by 30 points to 12. Fantastic win for Lee, toppling the top side of the table. And Salford Red Devils 29, Hull FC 22. It was a summer bash, round 12 in the Championship. Barrow 32, Whitehaven 16, Batley 20, Halifax 12, Bradford 42, Keighley 18, Featherstone 46, York Knights 16, London Broncos beat Toulouse 14-10, Newcastle Thunder 32, Sheffield Eagles 38. A big shout out to Chris Weller, who got a try and the man of the match award in that game as well. Former Salford player Ben Jones Bishop as well, former Salford player, scored 2 tries. So congratulations to Sheffield to continue their good run. Swinton Lions 6, Widnes Vikings 38. In round 10 of Betfred League 1, it was Cornwall 10, North Wales Crusaders 42, Dewsbury 52, London Scholars 6, Hunslet 36, Rochdale Hornets 18, and the Midlands Hurricanes 16, Oldham 50. Fixtures for this week then, Betfred Championship Friday night. This game's on the Viaplay channel. This one's at 7:45. It's Newcastle against Bradford Bulls. Magic Weekend on Saturday, 3rd of June. Salford against Hull KR kicks off at 1:30. Wigan Warriors against Catalan Dragons is 4:45. And Leeds Rhinos against Castleford Tigers is at 6 o'clock. There's one game in the Championship on Saturday at 5 o'clock between Toulouse Olympic and Halifax Panthers. And there's 2 games in Betfred League 1, both 3 o'clock kickoffs. London Scholars against North Wales Crusaders and Oldham against Hunslet. On Sunday, the 4th of June, the Magic Weekend continues. continues. Wakefield face Lee Leopards at 12 o'clock. St Helens play Huddersfield Giants at 2:15, and it's wrapped up with Hull FC against Warrington Wolves at 4:30. In the Betfred Championship on Sunday, all the games are 3 o'clock. It's Batley against York, Featherstone against Barrow, Keighley against Swinton, Sheffield Eagles against Whitehaven, and Widnes against London Broncos. And there's 2 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Betfred League One. Midlands Hurricanes entertain Doncaster, and Workington Town at home to Cornwall. So the league tables: Warrington Wolves stay top of the Super League. They've won 10 from 13. They've got 20 points. Wigan are second with 18 points. Catalans have got 18 points. Hull KR 16, Lee 16, and Salford 16. Just outside the playoffs of St Helens on 14. Betfred Championship: Featherstone are 12 from 12. They're 6 points clear of second place Sheffield Eagles. Then follows Batley on 16 points. Toulouse Olympic, Halifax, and Widnes. They've all got 14 points. Bradford Bulls just outside on points difference on 14 points as well. In the Betfred League One, Dewsbury are 9 from 10 matches with 1 draw. They've got 19 points. Doncaster have got 14, Oldham 13, Hunslet 12, Workington Town and Rochdale have got 8 points. London Scholars are still without a win, 9 defeats on the spin. So that's it. That's all I've got for you this week. Take care. Have a good week. Safe journey to everybody travelling up to Newcastle to watch Salford. Don't forget, it's early start, 1:30, so you need a couple of hours to get up there. So yeah, have a good week. Take care, and I shall see you at Newcastle on Saturday.
So that was Whiteside's World Rugby League, and now we'll look forward to Magic Weekend.
It's time for the Devil of the Details Big Match Review.
So Magic Weekend is upon us in Newcastle. We'll start with our learning disabilities rugby team. They are in action at Magic Parquet. It's great. They get the chance to play there in front of the big crowd.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think they did something similar last year, didn't they? I think, and what an occasion, being on that pitch in front of all them people in a stadium that size. It must be great for them. It'd probably send shivers down your spine, but yeah, it'd be good to see. And fair credit to Super League and the RFL and for putting it on, for giving people a chance. They could easily go for some glitzy, halftime shows and all this kind of stuff. Let's keep it real. Let's keep these people involved. They deserve their day in the sun. Let's be honest. And it should be good fun for them. I'm not sure what kind of format we've got going on, but yeah, it'll be good to see them.
Yeah, and then, like Andy Burnham and Paul Traynor said at Parquet, it's community, and obviously these lads and lasses playing, representing the shirt and representing the community.
That's exactly it. They are our team. They're our team as much as the first team are, as much as the ladies, anybody else. As soon as you put that shirt on, that's what I was going to say about Dupree before, about the fact that people, we put him in the squad. What have you done that for? Oh, when he puts that red shirt on, he's got all my respect. I'm right behind him. I'm and it's the same at all levels. And these guys are exactly that. They're going out there with Salford on their badge and in their heart. They want to go and win for Salford. They want to go and play rugby for Salford. That's their passion. They may not have been as fortunate as us to be able to do it at whatever other level. They're now getting their chance at last, and it's brilliant. And I just hope they have a great day out there. I hope the sun's shining for them.
Yeah, going to be exciting. Hull Kingston Rovers. Paul, obviously, like we said before, it's going to be a difficult game. They're in good form. Beat us previously this season. Do we need to get one over them?
Yeah, we've not beat them since the 2019 season, the last regular game of the season when Watto was in charge. I think we beat him 17-16 after extra time when Hastings was still playing. So, the 2020 season we didn't beat him. Last season we didn't beat him. The season before we didn't beat him. So we've had some hidings off him as well. So I'm not so sure how many games on the trot they beat us in now, probably 5 or 6. So yeah, and they beat us at Magic Week, and I think that was the 19 season, wasn't it? So they beat us at the Magic Weekend that season, then we beat them in the regular season at home. So our record against them, I think we won 2 of the last 10 or 3 of the last 10 against them. So we have got a poor record against them, and they're a good side, aren't they? Like a side that like to throw the ball about and play similar sort of game to us. Got strike players. I mean, I'm always impressed with the edge with that Lynette where he plays, and I think the man Abdul's injured at the moment, is he? He's not been playing, but they came very close against Wigan. I was listening to that game on the radio at the weekend, and they come close in that golden point extra time, I think it was, wasn't it? So they're on good form at the moment. They're a good side. They're going to be tough to play against, but it has all the hallmarks of the game of the weekend for me. That, you look at that two sides, you like to move the ball. We've got that huge game in the cup that I can't stop thinking about in a couple of weeks as well. But this one's the business first, isn't it, really? We need to go and perform at the Magic weekend. Cause I think our record there is probably one of the worst in Super League. I think we've won 3 out of 10 at Magic, or 2 out of 10, something like that. It's not so good. So, it'd be a tough game. But I'm glad we're on first, though.
No Andy Ackers, Parky, because he had a head bang. We hope he recovers soon. He'll be missed. No Abdul for them. Obviously, key player for them. His kicking game in particular was a real menace for us in that first game. So, who's going to be missed more?
Oh, that's a horrible question, isn't it? I mean, got before that, looking at it from what I've read tonight, okay, I'll probably have Lachlan Coote and George King back. Two massive pluses for them. Obviously, they lost Ethan Ryan last week. So, I mean, just having Coote back with that experience behind the team is going to help them massively. Abdul has been an absolute torment to us at times. He's been a superb player. So losing him's massive. We have got Chris Atkin to go in. It's what happens on the bench that's then the next problem. Who fills that gap where Chris Atkin would have been on? But that's a thing for Paul Rowley. I suppose Abdul is probably a slightly bigger miss because of his position, because of him being a halfback and having to run the show. But they have still got, we've got Mikey Lewis, who's a superb young player, absolutely brilliant player. Developed so much in the last 12 months. I think he's a real threat. They've still got Ryan Hall out there, who scores tries for fun still. He's a proper unit and he's massive. Paul mentioned Kane Lynette, who's been superb since he played for Rovers. He's a good player. They have got a good team, okay, they really have, but so have we. I think they're two pretty equally matched teams. As the league table tells you, on the same points, obviously. And this is key because the next couple of games, obviously, we've got them in this and then the cup. Sets a bit of a marker, if you like. I'm still confident in us. I think we've got enough. Now we've got Tim Laffey and CO back in the team as well, as a massive plus for us. But it's going to be interesting. And like Paul said, I think it is the game of the weekend. And first up, usually they put the better games on at the end, don't they? But I don't think they expected at the start of the year that us two would be as good as we are. I don't think these fixtures are as random as people make out, by the way. I think they thought, Salford, okay, I might be edging for the top 6. You don't know. One of them might, Wakefield League will be at the bottom of the league and they'll play each other. Well, League have clearly blown that out of the water. So, but yeah, I think it'd be a great game. I really do. And I think we've been playing really well. You take that second half of Saints out of the way and we've been really good recently. I know they had a tough game at the weekend and they've had an extra couple of days rest on us, which I'm not really sure why we played on Sunday, to be honest. It didn't make sense when we've got an early start Saturday, but that's up to the club, I suppose. Plus, it was last day of the Premier League season again. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it'll be tough, but I've got all faith in us. I think we've got a really good team. Losing Andy Atkins is a blow, but he's one player. We've got to be able to live without one player. I know Shane Wright's out, but that's it for the season for Shane. We're not getting him back. So, but I think we're all right. I think we're in a good position. We can win this.
Prediction time, Paul?
Before I do a prediction, Shane Wright's out of contract at the end of the season.
Is that?
And yeah, I believe so. I was reading a thing about the off contract players, and I sincerely hope he's not played his last game for Salford. I'd love him to sign a new contract because if anyone from the club's listening, get him signed up because he's a cracking player. So I just noticed this list. I can't remember what I saw it the other day. I thought, blimey, when you hear he's injured, you sort of panic a bit, don't you? Thinking because he's been really good for us. I think nice bloke as well. So hopefully he stays. My prediction: I think we're going to win. I don't fear Hull Kingston Rovers. I don't think they're that good. I've looked at their team. Yeah, they're all right. They're playing okay, but I think man for man our squad's better than theirs. So I'm going to go for a 28-16 win to Salford.
28-16 Salford. Parky, what's your thought process on that?
I had to smile and I thought he was going to say what I was thinking. I'm going 24-16 to Salford. I think it'd be a close game, but I think a bit like Sunday, I think we might just have enough. I do fancy it. I think if we click, we can beat anyone in the league on a day. Just need a bit of luck, really.
I'm going to go a high-scoring game. I'm going to go Salford to come out on top, 40 points to 32. And I'm going for Brodie Croft hat-trick. There you go. Silent, stunned.
It's going to be a dry day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, I think the thing is as well, it's probably a big pitch at St. James, is wide open. So, if we can get the likes of Timmy Laffey on the outside of players and Brodie Croft, doing that little shoulder drop and going through and things like that. And again, like we mentioned before, we're quite a mobile team. Well, both are really, but we've got a bit of pace in the pack as well. So it could suit us. And like you say, the grounds are finally firming up. So it should suit us. Baines has lost 2 stone, and we're gonna win the league.
Now all things are well in the world, Paul.
Oh, yeah, them were the days, weren't they?
So that's the end of this week's podcast. Another great show. Big thanks for tuning in, Paul. It's been another great talking all things Salford Red Devils and all the big news stories of the week.
I tell you what, you need a day off work to listen to this. How long have we been doing this for?
It's going to be
dinner hour. You're possibly going mad.
People say, "Oh yeah, I listen to your podcast driving to work." Podcasts like this get you to work, get you to Greg's for dinner, gets you back to work, and then gets you home parky.
Well, I mean, as long as we entertain, that's the main thing, or at least inform, if not entertain. But just before we go, just to say, obviously, keep supporting the club. Anyone who wants to invest on, they've got a few days left. Get your money in, and obviously, once again, thanks for the support you give us.
Yeah, big thanks for your donations via the Ko-fi. We got a big one today. Big thanks to Sandra McMorrow. Donated today £10, which was amazing. Paul.
Oh yeah, thanks very much, Sandra. That's great to take your time out and do that just for us. I mean, that really, really thank you. It's really, really nice.
Yeah. So obviously, if you want to sort of donate and help us grow this podcast, and the programs that are involved cost money to help produce it, feel free to follow the link on our socials and buy us a coffee, and we can continue to produce the podcast that you enjoy. So big thanks for tuning to this week's Devil of the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You find us on Facebook, Devil of the Detail SRD. Find us on Twitter at DITDSRD, and you find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, Reds. See you soon.